It seems the country goes on Christmas, the whole of it. So we kick off our program immediately. We have our facilitator here, who is Wakili Abigail Kaeli. She's going to take us through an overview, the workshop and the objectives, and also give us a PowerPoint presentation. Hii presentation baadaye itatumwa kwa email za kila mtu, will be sent to your emails, so that at least you can be able to refresh yourself baadaye. So Wakili, karibu. Yale mambo mengine which are my passion tawaambia hapo baadaye. Tunaweza anza na kama unaweza utuambie ukulima upi unaofanya. Karibu.
Habari ya asubuhi kila mtu. Good morning all of you. My name is Justus Lapi, and I belong to Kenya Small Scale Farmers Forum, and I'm a farmer. Mixed farming. Kwa Kiswahili naitwaje kwa Kiswahili? Kwa Kiswahili, kwa sababu sisi wa Kenya Small Scale Farmers, we are part of a regional network of East, Central and Southern Africa, na headquarters zetu ziko Tanzania, na kule tunaporomosha Kiswahili kweli kweli. Naitwa kilimo mseto. Mixed farming.
Wagapi walikuwa nafikiri ni mchanganyiko? Mimi nimeinua. Kilimo mseto, asante sana.
All the time tunaenda because we'll get a chance to visit Dar es Salaam. Be prepared for Kiswahili. Mixed farming means straight crops, livestock, and fisheries. Thank you.
Malisen, mimi naitwa Sabera Mwenyewe. Mimi ni mkulima. Mimi sijui kama umesikia wakati tulikuwa huko tumesunguka, nalima ka quarter a heka na nimejenga na niko na ng'ombe, napata chakula hapo ya kuuza. Hiyo quarter a heka from me. Taongea sasa. Asante.
Good morning. Morning. Habari yenu? My name is Ruth Karambo. I'm a Meru, but ninaishi Nairobi. Mimi wa Nairobi County. I'm a young farmer. I'm a young entrepreneur. I do a business. I do farming. I'm in too many industries. I'm preparing to have an export company whereby as KSF will be doing export outside the country, especially the new projects that have been implemented this year and the ones that will be coming next year. We'll talk more later. Thank you.
SAF kwetu ni mahali kunaitwa Mwala. Mwala is a sub-county of Machakos County. Na mimi pia ni mseto mzee. Sawa sawa? Nalima kila kitu hata watu. Sababu niko na watoto na wajukuu.
Good morning everyone. My name is Mukhtar Mohammed kutoka Wajir. I'm a pastoralist. Mimi niko na ng'ombe, ngamia na mbuzi.
Good.
I also have a small scale farm like hali nalima watermelon na tomatoes, kitu kama hivyo. I also plant grass for my cows.
Yes.
Lakini ng'ombe yangu imeisha sana kwa sababu ya ukame. Nimebakiwa kidogo.
Okay. Good morning everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Eric Oweti. coming from Migori County. I'm a small scale farmer.
Karibu.
I'm doing kilimo mseto, kama my friend Lavi said. So that is what we are doing there. We are planting avocado, bananas, kuku, and everything. So that fish. So we are doing different kind of things. Welcome.
Misi kilimo mseto. Niko na kuku 10 na naishi town Nairobi. Duko slats.
Shinda niko na 20. That's very good. Kienyeji sivyo?
That's an
Hata tulipao kienyeji.
wewe sasa
Kwa
madam.
mjini.
Samuel Kiruguni kutoka Nyeri County, Israeli.
Really?
Asubuhi. Okay. Kwa majina naitwa Athanas Mlanga. Natoka Taita County. Mimi ni mwana mazingira. Na pia kilimo mseto na kutekeleza.
Hamjambo members wa KESAP. Mimi naitwa Fitas Jilo. Natoka Tana River County, upande ule wa Coast Province. Mimi ni mkulima, nalima mahindi, kuna miembe na pia niko na kuku na mbuzi. Hiyo ndio ukulima wangu ambao nafanya. Mseto, unajua kule kwetu kusema mseto, kuna ile chakula ya mchele na dengu kichanganya, nasema ni mseto. Asanteni.
Majina ni Belis Kimani, nimetoka Makueni County, Taita Sub County. Shambani mwangu utakuta miembe, utakuta mahindi, maharagwe na pia mimi ni mfugaji wa kuku.
Habari zenu? Majina ni Saweli wa Jiro Kamaru kutoka Murang'a. Mimi ni mkulima mdogo wa majani chai.
Asante kwa hiyo nafasi. Majina ni Penina Nilikopita kutoka Makueni, Kibwezi East Sub-County. Ni mixed farmer mdogo. Naweza sema ni vitu mingi sana, sababu kuna rabbit, isipokuwa nataka kufunza kuwalea vizuri, wanakufa sana. Mpaka mbata, mchanganyiko ng'ombe, mbuzi. Kwa shamba sasa hivi kuna ndengu, mahindi, baadhi katika vingine vile kama kunde na vingine vingi. Asante.
Kwa majina ni Lemaru Kuyo kutoka Kajiado County, Kajiado Central, pastoralist na fuga mifugo, ng'ombe, kondoo na mbuzi, lakini kiangazi imetuweza sana.
Jina ni Sylvester Kimosop kutoka Baringo. Mimi ni mkulima na nimekuja kuwakilisha wakulima wengine. Tunalima mahindi kidogo, mbuzi, tunachunga mbuzi, tunazalisha asali na tunafuga kuku ya kienyeji. Asante.
Good morning everyone. Kwa majina ni Rose Kandia, natoka Baringo County. Tunachunga ng'ombe, mbuzi na tunatoa asali.
Ruge kutoka Nzoia. Mimi nalima Kiswahili tunaambiwa tuongee sanifu. Kilimo mseto, lakini ni mwana mazingira sana mazingira, lakini ni kilimo mseto. Asante.
Okay, good morning everybody. My name is Esther Angwenyi from Nyamira County. You know, in Kisii we don't have enough land, but inalima mboga kidogo na niko na mbuzi. So sometimes we hire land from Masai if you want to know maybe farm.
Oh, I need to face you, sorry. Just my busy.
Oh, na ndizi tu. Niko na ndizi.
Matoke lazima.
Matoke. Na wimbi. Yeah.
When I come from Kitui County, particularly Mwingi East District, mimi ni mkulima wa mimea. Mimea ni general, ni mkulima wa asali, hizo ni nyuki. Nakuza kuku. Asanteni.
Asante.
Kwa wazima, mimi ni Eda natoka Vihiga County, ni mkulima. Zile mimea mmetaja hapa ndio tunalima huko kwetu. There is no other way of repeating the same. Na ile kitu ninalima sana ni mkombero. Nani wanajua mkombero?
Mimi najua.
Yes, unajua ile kitu naongea.
Umekuja na kidogo.
From Machakos, crayfish company.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Maurice Madaka. We're all the crayfish members here.
Yes.
Crayfish is freshwater. It's between a small lobster and prawns. You know prawns? Prawns you find in the sea. Now this one is freshwater. So that's what we found. Yes.
Ndongo. I'm from Mboni, Makueni County. We found the crawfish together in Machakos and also in Mboni. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Kwa majina naitwa Chebet Agnes, natoka Pokot County. Mimi ni mkulima. Sana sana tunalima kitunguu fiasi. Hiyo kitunguu inakuja na watu wanatoka huku Nairobi, tunakutania na wengine huko kwetu. Wanakuja kununua kitunguu. Kitunguu yetu ni safi sana. Alafu mimi ni mkulima na practice mambo ya organic farming. Tunalima, alafu mimi ni engineer na changa ma greenhouse. Na tunapanda pia paipai. Nilienda Ethiopia, tukaenda tukaleta mbegu ya paipai inaitwa Marado, inafanya mzuri sana. So tukatoka huko tukaenda India, tukaleta vitu nyingi seeds. Tukikunywa chai baadaye tutashare. Na tunafuga na mimi ni supplier ya kuku na tunafuga kuku. Niko na 462 groups kwa kaunti yetu na train sasa kila group. Before that na train mambo ya saving and internal lending community ya kufanya savings. 30 members kwa kila group tunafanya savings mara mbili. Tuko na social fund na tuko na savings. Hii social fund ukilemewa kidogo kama wamama hakuna haja kuomba mzee kwenda kwa soko, mzee hapa wapi, Joseph hapa wapi. Huyo mtu anaweza kukuwepo ulale njaa jioni. Unaenda kwa savings, unaenda kuomba social fund inakusaidia kidogo. Sasa hii savings inaokolea mambo ya emergency and then this social fund inaokolea mambo ya emergency and then savings tuna lend. Leo unakopa karibu 4,000 unaenda unanunua vifaranga na supplier vifaranga, unafuga hiyo vifaranga unauza. Hii vifaranga kuku yetu inakuja Nairobi sana sana mpaka inaenda mpaka Mombasa. Sasa ama juzi mimi nilikuwa na 500 kuku nikauza kwa 888 nikapata 400. Si ni pesa mzuri? Sasa hata vitu nyingi huwa tunafanya na tutashare zingine baadaye. Asanteni sana.
My name is Omar Kutara. I am a small-scale farmer, member of KESAF. I'm hailing from Marsabit County. Nafikiri mmesikia Marsabit County ikiwa na mambo mingi sana. Paka agency ilitumwa ndio mambo ikakuwa afadhali. It was almost Ukraine. Ninakuza sana sana kilimo mseto, but particularly we are focusing on drought tolerant crops kama njahe, cassava, sweet potatoes, na iko hii chakula inaitwa teff, which is commonly grown in Ethiopia but commonly eaten as anjera. Hapa Isili ukienda kwa hoteli ya Habash utapata. Pia tumeanzisha kilimo ya mboga, kales farming, kwa maana imechaguliwa kama one of the value chain kuna camel milk na kuna meat goat na cows. And I'm the current county chair for the cows. But due to the persistent drought for the last, this is the 5th season, mvua haijanyesha. So ndio tumeumia sana, but we still continue with capacity building kwa ajili tumekuwa funded na supported na agriculture sector development program ya Ministry of Agriculture. Tunaendelea na hiyo. And then also we have a consortium of groups ambaye tunafanya table banking, na particularly my group ambaye ni Gabare Jabatu, we call it the struggling farmers. We are now having a capital flow of about 960,000, and we are lending farmers, members, interest-free of 30,000 Kenya shillings every month for those who pay. We don't charge you interest, but we only pay what we call members' contribution every month of 350. We have 32 members in our own group, but we have a consortium of 1,414 members. Asanteni.
What is a food system? Food system ni nini? What is a locally led food system? What does the transformation of the food system entail? The outcomes of food systems transformation, and what are the pathways to being built for achieving these outcomes? So I'm going to take you through number 1, 2, and 3. Then for number 5, I'll give you a general overview. Then 20 per groups, we do that. Is that okay? So I'll start. What is the food system? And a food system, you can view it in 3 ways. And number 1 is a web of interconnected practices and relationships that deliver food from farms, processing facilities, factories, warehouses, and retailers to the dinner table. Chakula ikipandwa kutoka kwa shamba, iende kwa factory, iprocessiwe, iende kwa warehouse, retailer achukue akuzie. All those things are what we call food system. And secondly, at smaller scales or more extensive and complex. Smaller scales because lots of us farmers tunalima kule nyumbani just to feed our families. And the complex food system, they are characterized by production and consumption that are often separated by long distances and involve a tremendous number of activities, resources, individuals in their journey from the farm to the table. An example of this will be coffee ama majani chai. Under majani chai is a complex thing. Itoka ikiwe kilicho, maybe iprocessiwe, ikiwe exported maybe to other countries.
Una create mahindi, kuna ile ya grade 1, grade 2. Nasema hapo ulisahau grade kwa sababu tuseme kwa mfano umefuna. Kuna ile selection unachukua ile mahindi ya ile mzuri unaweka hapa, moso unaweka hapo. So ni ya maana uweke hapo. Hata kama ni fish, una fish umefuna ni samaki. Si ati unachanganya samaki yote mpaka omena, si mpaka yote. So uweka
iko kwa process. Mama nimeandika pale.
Nitatoka hapo. Also I'd like to mention a point there. For us small-scale farmers, we have never known what we do. Tunalima tu. Na hii masomo tumepata leo, tena mimi imenifunza kwamba kilimo chetu kiko na daraja kadha wa kadha. And when we are doing farming, badala sisi kwetu small scale farmers na wenyewe we don't understand ourselves. Today with this lesson we are able to see what we do and how it affects ourselves and how it affects other people, and how we can use that at different stages to enhance what we are doing. Mimi nimezaliwa kwa family ya farming. Na sometimes I used to look at my father when he's farming. Na I used to kushangaa hii kilimo ya mzee. My grandfather also farmed. Where does it connect with the other? You see? And now, here, with this lesson, you can see where it is connecting. Now, as we go on ahead, because we are changing our farming to kilimo biashara, and that is the emphasis today, and especially for attraction of the youth. People are today targeting on farming so that it can bring incomes. Because the system that we used to have that brought us income, they disappears, like the cooperatives. Kumbuka wetu tulikuwa tunalima kahawa, tulikuwa tunalima pamba, tulikuwa tunapeleka cooperative na tunaletewe pesa. My mother alikuwa famous kwa kulima ng'ombe. Tulikuwa tunaleta ng'ombe KMC, tunawacha pale, tunaenda nakuta pesa kwa banki. Kahawa the same thing. So today things have changed. But then with this sort of identification, it will help us. So when I'm farming, I'm not just farming kienyeji hivyo. I'm farming with a target. Kama rafiki yangu pale wa Marsabit, those some very specialized crops ziko huko, sisi hatujui. Unajua Kenya, saa zingine Kenya tunajua kidogo sana. Wakati zinafika huko kwetu, this area, zikifika Nairobi, then we can look at them differently. So I think this identification of food systems is very important, and this lesson is coming from UN, so that small-scale farmers, we are elevated to global level, and we can act at that UN level where everybody is. Asante.
This is quite key and important, and the most important thing about this is one is to extend the shelf life of food from the primary, secondary. You extend the shelf life so that it reaches the customer. Number two is employment creation. I think that's very key, the two facts that these processes are showing us. Thank you. Just want to add that.
Any other thing? So continue to the element of this food system. So this local food system, there is a direct marketing. Ukilima, when you produce chakula kwa shamba, kupata consumer mwenye unamuzia ni direct. There are no other agents hapo katikati. Unaelewa? There is direct marketing. Local food sales are most often conducted directly between the producer and the consumer. And also the other thing, they expand the economic interactions between food producers and food consumers to include social relationship, environmental management centered on a particular cause. So there are economic interaction, there are social relationship, there are environment management centered in that particular place. And remember we said it can be a region, metropolitan area, or even a community. What are the benefits of this local food system? Now, ametuambia some of them, like employment creation, and also building resilient communities. Opportunity for communities to be better prepared to withstand future challenges that affect food supply. Unapata case of anything kama COVID ama coming in your community, you are good to go. They keep money circulating
within the local economies, which is beneficial for the rural communities. So money is circulating within that local economy. Job creation, as you said, and also increased demand for job creation. And food produced locally is often fresher, which can result in higher nutritional value. And in the event of a food-borne illness outbreak, contaminated food is easier to trace and contain when the food is sourced locally. See, these ones are clear. I want to add something. In the point of the local food system money circulating within the local area, there is a place in Laikipia, sorry, called Rogoroti. It's a small town in Rogoroti. So, like right now, it's about 1.5 years ago. They have a market day, but these days they have increased to 2 days. That one market day, they sell animals in the morning. They go there by 4, by 11 they're done. Then the women from Gombit, Pokot, Maragoi come, sell their, now they buy food as they go home. So like now the county government, they were saying that there is like 10 million circulation within that day. So the point of the money circulating within the local area is practical. Now it needs to be implemented like in Marsabit and Wajir and these other counties, and then that money it is put in a place that there is an institution that check over it so that it can reach the farmers and help them.
So that we don't forget at the particular space. Once we were moving around with the FAO, and we went to Garissa, and I was shocked. Garissa has got the biggest market of livestock in Central and Southern Africa. Inaanza saa 11. And these guys transact 6,000 animals. Ngamia, ng'ombe, mbuzi na kondoo. Now that market is almost 10 million every Friday. So when we get to this, to details of that, we should also identify our markets, because hardly very few people in Kenya know kwamba tuko na soko kubwa namna hiyo ya mifugo, na marodi yako pale and is very well structured, na officers wa veterinary wa Ministry of wa serikali ya kaunti ya Garissa wako pale wakiinspect hiyo mifugo. Ikitoka pale iko na stamp certified, it can go anywhere in the world. So as we go on with food systems, we will also be able to identify these spaces for agribusiness. Thank you.
Okay, so we move forward. What does transformation of the food system entail? To transform food system. As we said when we were starting, we said the main aim of this grant, or what that organization in Ethiopia grant wants to do, is to transform food systems, the local food systems in Kenya and Ethiopia. So what does this transformation entail? So it's a change of what? The institutions, change of institutions, infrastructure, regulation, and shape them. See, you have understood what a food system is. So they want to transform the institutions, the infrastructure, regulations, market that shape all of this process to make them more equitable and sustainable. So, then the outcomes of food system transformation. This is one thing which are supposed to be in the groups. And the specific things that you want food system transformation to achieve. unataka wakitransform hizo food systems, nini ikue after that, the outcome, the result. Maybe food security, inclusivity, enabling a decent living for stakeholders in the food system. Napata kila mtu, every stakeholder kwa hii food system is living decently. Environmental sustainability, or ensuring that people can access food and protect their livelihood when food systems are hit by extreme events or market shocks and political instability or conflict. But in case of anything, because we have food, we have enough food. So these are examples of outcomes of food system transformation. And the pathways to influence achieving these outcomes. What can be done? No, hizo outcomes zikuwe. This includes who needs to be influenced at the national level. Maybe necessary changes in policies or the implementation that would lead to better outcomes, or right model of influencing at different scales. For example, participatory processes and multi-stakeholder platform. Unapata kuna enough participation, and also building on previous experiences. Tumeelewa outcomes and pathways. So outcomes is what you want the food transformation to achieve, and the pathways are what is supposed to be done for those outcomes to happen.
This one conclude. Yeah, the Nairobi here. When you buy that goat, there are those who are ready to slaughter and remove the skin, and you'll get that meat ready and transport to your house immediately.
Yeah, that's a local food.
Yes, talking about inclusivity. The aspect of accessibility, affordability, availability, and then in the situation where now the drought is very extreme, the farmers may be not able to get food from their farm for a period of maybe 3 years. What will be the implication of inclusivity?
Yeah, inclusivity.
Yes.
So, in inclusivity, every stakeholder in this food system should be included, and the stakeholder can be that farmer who is facing the drought.
Maybe before you go further, government or the national government will come in with relief.
Yeah?
The county or the national government might come in this situation with the relief. And then the relief will go for the most vulnerable. For example, if an area is affected by conflict and drought, all classes of citizens are being affected, even the business community, even the common farmers and the others. Now this is my question now, that's that one I raised. How are we decent enough to say inclusivity? Because that relief is very minimal. It will target the most vulnerable for a very short period. Because I was expecting about what we call the food reserve system that a country or a county will have. Drought is not a new phenomenon. It's not a new dictionary. It has been with us. But our county is very, very poor in planning for drought. We are very poor because we only shout about drought when it emerges, but we don't plan for it. Yet, a country like Israel or Brazil, which receive maybe rain after 2 years, they don't cry of what we call drought, because they have a very good model of combating the drought. So in this situation, in the food system, especially when we localized, what will be our survival situation or position or strength when there's no that appropriate planning in approaching the challenge?
I get your question. So that's the outcome you'd like the food transformation to achieve, right? Right?
I'm not getting you, madam.
Yeah, that's what he needs.
That's what you
Well,
mean. That's
he
an
desires.
outcome.
Yeah, he
You-
desires.
That outcome, that the food transformation to achieve that outcome, right?
Yeah.
That's true. So,
let me add something. What I'm trying to get from him, whatever we are learning is it can grow a population, but in the situation we have in the country right now, the cost is unsustainable. So I think during the session you can see where we can appoint how we will have an environment or whatever we're putting to sustain the drought mitigation we have in the country right now. Because it's trying to see we have all these, we are planting, we are doing, but now what about the places affected with climate change? There is no water. That we expect the government and the NGOs and what do like desalination of water, and so many things, but they're not doing it. So how are we going to create impact and help the system of the transformation of food to be accelerated in such county?
let me answer you.
No, I'm trying to add that.
Let me just add on you. This list it's not everything, it's just a guide. You're supposed to come up with those outcomes and the pathways of achieving those outcomes. Or trying to
We are both, you are both right. Actually, you are thinking ahead of where we are. We will reach there.
Oh yeah. You mentioned about inclusivity in the community, whereby in such situations like where we're experiencing drought for pastoralists, when the relief comes, let's say relief food for, are you talking about relief food for the livestock or for the people? For the people. For both actually. So with food system transformation, this enables, because when the drought is affecting everyone equally, whether you're well off or you're not, whether you're a big farmer or you're a small farmer, it's affecting everyone. With food system transformation, mostly in pastoralism, it all comes back to inclusivity, comes to equal access to pasture, equal access to alternative form of pasture, whereby the farmers don't depend on natural pasture. Just that when it doesn't rain, everything goes to tumble. So everyone, like with the model of food system transformation I've seen in pastoralist communities in other countries, is the pasture generation of pasture or cultivation of pasture is communally and locally. It's a local and communal initiative, which ensures every pastoralist will have pasture even during even the dry season, and that's where the food system creates inclusivity in everyone across the class and even sizes of their production. Yeah.
That means then this food system, isn't it?
Yeah, now the policy, and policy formulation and implementation.
Help each and every person in terms of what they're growing. Are you doing mangoes? Are you doing maize? Are you in aquaponics? We need policies that look at who are the ones who are growing certain things and what do they basically need to know about those things. So when it comes to ground level, which today is our counties, I wish we had a place where everyone in Machakos within a certain radius would be able to register and say, Maurice Matheka does crayfish, he does kienyeji, he does rabbits. At what capacity? What kind of rabbits do I have? It's important we have the information. We all just grow things and hope they will sell. We grow a rabbit, but we don't know whether that rabbit, when it comes to bone to meat ratio, is what the market likes. But Nicola rabbits, they're doing very well. No. They're eating. I don't know about the doing well. Because doing well will be how much money am I going to be able to pocket. That's how you know us doing well. Cost effective is basically, let's make sure that we teach people on how to lessen the production costs. It's very important, because at the end of the day, if you look at feeds, if you look at fertilizers, if we had policies that made sure that those were accessible, if you've got a cow, they will eat. If you've got goat, they will eat. If you've got fish, they all eat. Accessibility to, nowadays we're talking about things like going green. So, for example, how many people know that you can use, if you've got the quantities, you can use rabbit manure, you can use rabbit urine as a pesticide. But how many know that? So whenever I share information, I'm like, really? My God, you're such a clever, I'm not clever, the information is there. It's just, it's not being disseminated to many people, that's the problem. Traceability, safeguarding the environment. But now traceability is, I produce crayfish. By the time that crayfish is at a market or at Carrefour or whatever outlet where you buy your food from, it would be good that at some point you're able to say that crayfish came from a certain location and it was bred from this to that. It's not magic, it's the technology that a lot of people are talking about. It's good to be able to trace where your food is from. I'll give you my example. I started to dislike Sukuma Wiki. Ask me why.
Why?
Because I started hearing stories of where Sukuma Wiki is planted. Oh, in sewage canals. Oh, this one. And then you know how us Kenyans are, we always add a bit of tune. Oh, the one you're eating there, that looks like it was in some pieces. Trying to eat well.
It's normally very healthy.
Yes, there you go. It is supposed to be healthy. But really, if we're looking at our health, which a lot of people are today, it's good to have that traceability. So I feel this transformation, traceability will be very important. Not easy to implement, but the one thing Kenya has, we have minds. If we have structures and systems that work, traceability will be easy. Infrastructure. Good access roads. If county level, I want my MCA to be able to know who is doing what in this region, and is that crop or is that produce getting to the markets, and that's from your Maram roads and stuff like that. So infrastructure is very important. Who will benefit when these outcomes are achieved? The farmer. The farmer will benefit because they've been taught things that help them produce crops that are safe and also affordable to produce. Because it's important that if you're producing something that takes 4 months, 6 months, 12 months, that at the end of the day you feel, well, the sweat and the pain and the blood was worth it. So I believe the farmer will definitely benefit from that. Losers, this was a debate in our group. I wanted to call them brokers as written there, but they had other names. Sorry?
Middlemen.
Middlemen, yes. In our group, there are those who felt that brokers, middlemen are great because they have the networks. But it's their job to have the networks. That's how they make money. You're making money from producing a crop, by raising fish. He makes money by knowing that I have all these groups and I have a feeling 80% of them are growing something and they don't know who to sell to. So if he's the guy who buys, I'm going to strike a deal with him to try and con the rest of you. So if my crayfish, if I want to sell it, if I feel the retailer can sell crayfish at 2.5 per kilo. As a farmer, I want to release it at 1,000, even minimum 800 bob per kilo. But the broker will come and tell me, I have a big market and I'm taking all this. Can you give me at 500? Who is losing? So what's the point of the broker? Why don't we have a system like, what's his name? Jack Ma. You know what Jack Ma did in China? Jack Ma saw no one's communicating to one another in China, so I'm going to create something where they can communicate. So what did he do? He created technology. He came up with a website where if you were the potato guy, you go there and say, this is my farm, you enter all the potatoes, your production per month, per week, whatever, and it was free. So what happened? Imagine all Kenyan farmers, from your small guy to your big guy, all being in one platform where we can all access one another. What's the point of the middleman? All we're doing right now is we're going to employ somebody who's going to be in the system, who is certified by the system, to just disperse my produce. So I'm in Machakos, there's the guy in Eldoret who wants crayfish. Brilliant, it's ferried there. Instead of it being ferried by a middleman, where it has to enter 3-4 trucks by the time it gets there. And maybe they ate a few crayfish by the time we got there. So that's a system that I feel would work better. So the farmer will gain, and the broker will basically not gain at all. Workforce. I know mango farms that are quite big in Kibwezi, and women are the ones used when it comes to harvest. They're the ones used to basically maintain the trees. Even though they have an irrigation system, they're also used to make sure that irrigation system is working. I've seen them being used in fish farms. There's a friend of mine who does French beans, so collectively you find that he's got about 300-400 women who at least every month are being employed to do one thing or another, because he's harvesting every single week. So they'll benefit from a system that works, and the more yield means more money, because a lot of them are also paid per kilo, so that will work pretty well. Okay. Promising achievement that people desire from the outcome, technology benefits. IA, drones. Drones are being used in a farm in Kibwezi to basically, for the pesticides. So they're spraying mango trees with drones. So that becomes an advantage. And using the same drone, you're able to see if there's any activity and how some of the trees are doing, because it's quite a big plot of land. You're looking at, last time was like 200 acres. So a drone will really help. And you'll be able to map out which areas you need working on, and you can tell your workforce better. Smart farming. Smart farming goes back to what I was saying before. It's important we teach our farmers how to farm cleverly. We used to be told, work hard and things will work out. Many of us worked hard and nothing worked out. But when we started working smart, things worked out. And basically smart farming is, for example, if you're aware of things like hydroponics, where they're using water rather than soil. There's aquaponics, where they're using the mixture of fish types like tilapia, catfish, to basically use that waste of the fish to rotate it into a system, and they're just using water again. The only difference between hydroponics and aquaponics is the fact that one is using an animal, the other is just using special chemicals to make sure that the plant grows. So technology is very important nowadays, and it guarantees a better yield. And then you have improved infrastructure. Improved infrastructure means that your food can move from one end to another. It's not very simple. I feel when it comes to some of the things we have in terms of policies, I think somebody else mentioned, we have many policies and all they drive is public participation. We are public. we have participated. The question is, what comes out of this participation? We can't be very good at participating, but not implementing. So some of the things that we've noticed in our counties is there's a lot of participation. There's a lot of come and tell us. Somebody even mentioned that we have scenarios where people are not even aware of what the problems of the farmers in their area are. But they meet and they make a policy that creates more of a problem than an advantage to farmers. So we need to get to a point where, as my good sir said there, as farmers we become part of the problem. We need to not just participate, we need to follow up that participation. We need to be loud. The way people are called, what are they called? Keyboard warriors on social media. We should be warriors in this sector more than social media, because this sector is going to make us money. It's our livelihood. So when we just say, no, what's your MCA? He knows what he's doing. Yet the MCA has just made a policy for potatoes because anapenda waru. Yet potatoes are not the main crop there. So how does that help everybody else? It doesn't. Why the achievements will be promising? Well, knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Once you have the knowledge, then that knowledge will allow you to ask the questions that will better your business. And business is always evolving. That's the one thing. Farming is always evolving. I keep hearing small-scale farmer. Let's not dharau small-scale farmer, because if you look at what Egypt, Israel, they do, it's very simple. If you give an Israeli 2 acres and you give an average Kenyan 10 acres, who do you think will produce more? Why? He's simple. Isn't the 10 acres supposed to produce more? Yes, but the knowledge they have is because they did the research. They didn't just wait. Let's just wait for knowledge. Boss, we got knowledge. I want knowledge. And if I wait, I don't think anybody will give me knowledge. But if we sit together and we research, then we'll get the knowledge from ourselves. We are the knowledge because we're the ones feeding that machine. And the machine is based on the experiences. Oh, I did this, it failed. Okay, how did you tweak this? That's the research that we don't do. Because we're sat here, all of us as farmers, but how often are we in a group where we are constructively giving each other advice? Not until we're invited here. I've had people doing so many other things, but we should be in forums where I can say, to create it. They've been the ones saying, you know what, let's do this and see what works out in a month or 6 months. And there's a margin for error. But we are not patient. True, we're not. We don't have a culture of patience. So when I tell you, why don't you experiment? You tell me experiments don't pay bills, boss. But the experiment in part of your farm will give you knowledge. Because over the year you'll have done 5 experiments and noticed experiment 3 was the best, so I'll implement that. And then you help other people and suddenly there's more produce in your area. So that's very, very important. Potential of initiative growing. We're able to feed an ever-growing society by giving them this. The potential is in the fact that if we improve our systems, then we can actually feed our people and feed them with food that is traceable. Feed them with food that is good for you, has certain nutritional value. Because today, what happens is, you don't really know where your food comes from. You go to Mama Mboga, you get whatever you need from her. But if somebody asked you, can you trace where that spinach you just bought came from? It could have been a student just planting things, experimenting with his own fertilizer. So you're eating skooma that has a bit of chalk in it. And you're wondering why we have cancer. Remember there was a time when Africa cancer was a cancer used to be a guy. It was not a condition. But now it's a condition. Why? Because we're not tracing where our food's coming from. It's important to have these systems. We can't be individualistic where there's my farm, there's my produce, I sell, I don't care where it goes, I've pocketed my money to the next cycle. We can't survive. We need to be more competitive so that we can also export our produce. It's funny, but once upon a time, most countries that we import things from, we used to export to them. We used to export to Australia, didn't we? Maize. Kenya exported maize to Australia. Wow.
Kenya exported meat.
Yes. And that's it. What happened to those systems? Why can't we revive them? Considering we have far more knowledge today than back then. But there are things that, there are systems in place, there was integrity, graft was not as much as today. Those are the things that we need to look at. And I don't want to put a downer to the potential of our counties and stuff, but the MCAs that we keep mentioning, some of them have an education level of a peanut, and you expect that guy to formulate policies that help you. I'm sorry, but all of us here should demand that certain people in our counties need a certain qualification. I need a scientist who understands soil, who understands fish, so I can listen to them. I don't want to listen to an MCA who was puffing more bangi before he was an MCA, and I'm trying to ask him about crayfish. How do you think that conversation will go? How do you think the policies will go? Yes. Why aren't we discussing these things? These are the real things. I've been sat there and I'm hearing a lot of good things, exciting. You know, it's like eating a cake and never eating it again. So instead of eating the cake and never eating again, let's eat the cake